Hi, and welcome to the session on aims and objectives of education. What should be the aims? What should be the objective of education as a teacher, as a management? What are those which we intend to achieve, and what is that we need to set? What is that we need to build among the students? Is something which we need to try to understand today in this module. There are plenty of views on this, and every topic, if you take up, it's a vast topic where in the given time frame of 30 minutes or 40 minutes, I would not be able to cover it up. But I would definitely highlight what are the important aspects with different psychologists and different political mindset, and also what is the religious aspect. What should be, according to the religious aspect, what should be the objectives, what we are intent to set. Now, one thing we need very clear, we all know that life has a purpose. It's not something which we all have, we have been sent on the earth and we just live for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and then we just go on, we just go away. If you look at the history, a lot of people have contributed a lot to the society because they understood what is the purpose of life. And we also know that the Creator hasn't created anything which is waste. Everything which has been created has a purpose. The Creator Himself talks about this, He mentions this in the Quran, that we have created the universe, and in the universe there's nothing which doesn't have a purpose. What is that purpose? What is a particular goal which we are all working towards? And what should be the philosophy? As I mentioned, education is a very vast subject and it cannot be completed in a given time frame, but it is very important that we understand this. Over the world, if you look at the different parts, the different parts of the world, you have different communities, and each community has a purpose, or the education what they give to their children has a purpose. And getting education is not just something which we learn something and we don't use it anywhere. We all know very well that education should have a purpose, because if it is not there, if it doesn't apply to the real world or to the real life, then it's a directionless journey. And this directionless journey will not help the society at all. So it's very important for us that if we have to achieve the goal, and if we have a goal in front of us, we need to make sure that we accomplish this for a purpose. Every community's thought process depends, or the thought process towards education or its objectives can have many views. It's not only something which it's a purpose, and that purpose of life should be very clear, and each one of us have a different purpose. It depends on the purpose of life, and it also depends on the perceptions of life. Community's philosophy of life will always decide what should be the objectives of education. It depends on the political view of a particular country at times, because different countries have got different ideologies. You have a political ideology somewhere, something called democracy. You have fascism, you have communalism, you have aristocracy. Now each of these ideology has got a different set of objectives when it comes to education or educating children. We have communism, which has got a totally different views. We have a democratic country like us. It has a totally different views when it comes to the purpose of education. Now, if you look at this, any country's objective of education will always depend on its political ideology. Similarly, it also depends on the psychology or the mindset of people in the community. People in the community are inclined towards a purpose according to the necessity of what they intend to achieve. Objective of education also depends on what objectives are framed as per the mindset. Similarly, we also have religious aspect, and the religious or the cultural ideologies which exist also has a particular philosophy. Now, what is this particular community's culture? Or what is the philosophy of a particular community? Their view also decides on what should be the aims and objectives of education. Now, as far as Islam is concerned, the purpose of life, we all know very well, is submission towards the Creator. Being obedient to Him, obeying Him all the time, and He Himself has mentioned in Quran, the Creator Himself, that we have created humans and jinns so that they obey us and they submit completely towards me, that is the Creator. With this, we understand that the final statement is to obey the Creator, and His acceptance is what we work towards for. If He is accepted us, that means we have achieved everything in life. If He is going to reject us, then there's nothing, and there's nobody could do anything on that aspect. So the final objective of any human being should be, or he should try to be very obedient, and he should try to achieve that education, and through the education, what exactly the religion talks about. He should be made capable. The student should be made capable. He should be made. We should try to give him a very clear, or make him understand the concept of the Creator, that he is born with a purpose, and one of the purpose is that he worships, he prays for the Creator. Our education system should always be with a purpose, and a purpose which would give the future generation a direction, make them understand that there is a Creator, and also make them understand that their responsibilities, or they are representing the Creator as a Khalifa on this earth, or as a head, the king, you call with whatever name. And we all have a responsibility. What is that responsibility? That is towards creating a community which every individual in the community will submit himself towards the Creator and worship the Creator. The education system should build the attributes, and this should be the purpose. What attribute? The attribute is very clear, that you have born with a purpose, and submission to the creator is what is more important. We also need to remember that human being is a sole authority, and everyone has a position on the earth. I'm not talking about a position of the different positions available in a company or a different positions available in the political scenario. A position as an individual. You have been given a responsibility, I have been given a responsibility, and for that responsibility, to fulfill that responsibility, to work towards that responsibility, to complete the duty which we all have been assigned with, that should be the sole objective. And the entire universe which is created is being created as a supportive element to that individual. Now, using these supportive elements which are there around us, we fulfill the objectives or the responsibilities which the Creator has put on us. Now, as far as the society is concerned, it is, till now what I had spoken to you was, as an individual, what should be the responsibility. Now, as far as the society is concerned, there are different views. Now, let's see what are those different views. Now, according to John Dewey, a famous psychologist, education psychologist, he talks about the development of social efficiency is one of the social efficiency, in the sense the social system, the society should be like this, and that is what he says the aims of education should always be. To him, the school is a social institution. It's not just an individual identity where our 200, 300 students study, but he says it's a social institution which will contribute towards the society's development. The school should be organized in such a way that the activities which happen inside the school reflects outside the school and creates an impact outside the school. Education takes place with a purpose, with the participation of every individual in a social activity, and the relationships which we all have towards our fellow beings. Dewey also holds that education is a necessity for healthy living in the society. Now, he also says that education builds the gap between the innate nature of a child and the needs of the society. It builds the gap, it bridges the gap on what exactly the nature of the child should be and how it should get connected to the social needs. Those who emphasize on individual personality development. So Dewey is talking about the social. There are somebody who would also talk about the individual personality development. And when it comes to the individual purpose of personality development, the aims of education should always be the child-centric. Today we are talking about child-centric approach. Anything you do, child is important. But this is what the psychology all talks about, whether it is the history or whether it is the religious aspect. The child should be given, we give information to the children, we impart knowledge, and then we do this because we know knowledge is power. And those who have knowledge and who have gained wisdom through the knowledge, only they can do the best for the society. So the individual's growth and how the individual accepts it, he takes it, and how he acquires knowledge, and using that knowledge he will be able to do the best for the society. The second objective is the self-realization. The individual should be able to understand who he or she is. As I mentioned, what is the purpose of his birth, the purpose of being born, what qualities does an individual should have or should possess. Other aim of education, which the psychologist mentions, is to gain happiness. Something which you would all be thinking on, but it is true. When you learn something, we all feel very happy. That should also be a purpose. The next objective mentioned is how you can make a human lead a complete life. A complete life. One more objective is that the child needs planned aesthetic education in order to influence the experience, to feel the beautiful universe which has been created around us. And he should also understand that he is accountable for the entire things which are available around him. And he should also know that he cannot create disharmony. He should make sure that it is balanced and it is serving a purpose. The individual has to accept that he is a part of the society, and he should also learn how he could get adjusted with the society. Because at times we don't like a lot of things which are happening around us, but getting adjusted to that environment is what we need to teach the students, and that should be one of the objectives. The next point is very important. We need to make sure that the child gets a holistic development. The objective should be, we are talking about the objectives, and one of the important aspects which I have come to you now with is the holistic development of the child, that is a balanced development of the child, and that is why we are here today in this training batch also. Now, what are the social aims? Till now I was talking to you on the aspect of what should be the aims of education when it comes to an individual personality. I am going back to a few points and repeating that an individual is a part of the society. His relationship plays a very important role, and it is always a child-centric aspect. And once we gain knowledge, and when we acquire knowledge through the wisdom which we achieve, the wisdom which we have, using that as an individual, what best I can do for the society. To make sure that the individual is happy, that should be the objective. And an individual can lead a complete life, and also the child or the individual needs a very planned aesthetic education, because if he doesn't get the sense of feeling of why the universe is created and the beautiful things around him, if he is not appreciating those beautiful things, he will start creating disharmony. Now, when I like a particular flower, a plant, I'll make sure that I protect that plant all the time. So I've understood that this is important in the universe, and I'll start protecting it. This is a very simple example. I need to learn on how adjust as an individual. When you are educating somebody, he needs to learn how he gets adjusted with the society. And we also make sure that a complete holistic education or a holistic development or an all-round development When it all-round development, I am talking about as physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, social. All these attributes have to be addressed. Social aims. Education is a very important subject for citizenship nowadays. We are living in an era where we talk about global market. It is now for the entire global market. Anything we learn, anything we achieve should serve the purpose of the global society, not my own town or my own city or my own country. And here it is important that we create an awareness of the democratic values for the children. Because society is formed only by human beings, and within the society one's personality grows. I will grow only when I am working for the society and I am living in the society. As is the case with society, a personality where the Creator has guided, He's always guided us, He's always helped us, He's shown the path for us. And using that guidance, and walking on that path, we do something for the society. Because here, the human being and the society should actually complement each other. They are complementary for each other. I am there, the society exists, and the society is existing, I also exist. We cannot separate these two. I cannot leave away from the society and say I don't want to get involved with what is happening in the society. Is it really possible? It's not. And from Islam point of view, or from the religious aspect, the individual is important and the society is also important. Society is formed from the individual, and human being molds himself, he grooms himself according to the needs of the society. Today what are we doing? We are learning. We are trying to understand the psychology. We are trying to understand the aims and objectives. We are trying to understand what lesson plan is all about. Why are we learning? Why are we grooming ourselves? We are trying to improve our communication skills. Why? Because we want to make sure that whatever we are learning will reciprocate, or probably it helps the society. Or we are trying to do something for the society. And who is that society? The future generations. Educationists and sociologists have debated a lot on this, and the educationists have always questioned on what's the important aspect, or what is the relationship between an individual and the society. Who is more important? Is it the individual or is it the society? Who should be given the priority? Should we give the priority to the individual or should we give the priority to the society? Here, the real purpose of education is the individual. They also have debated on it. Is it the individual or the society? The purpose of education should be for the individual or for the society. We have two perspectives when it comes to the objectives of education here. Is the objective only to achieve individual goals or achieve social goals? Frobel, we have a psychologist, we have Rose, we have Pastology. These psychologists emphasize on the personality development of an individual, and as the individual grows, as I just said, when I grow, the society also will grow. When I found something, when I do a discovery, when I do an invention, automatically it helps the society and the society is growing. Rose talks about the education of students. He's also talking to put himself in front of the child. That is, overall the child-centric approach is what is more important. The real teaching of education is that a person should have an intellect, or the intellectuality of the child, or how you mold the child, and the purpose of education must be very clearly explained, and the curriculum framing should always be according to what the child actually needs. He realizes that the purpose of education will always help the learner, and its independence will have a different effect on completely when you're working towards a child-centric approach and you're keeping the child in the center as a center point. How it affects, it creates a brotherhood. It shows that every individual is important. The equality comes into picture, empathy comes into picture, tolerance. We need to teach students the tolerance levels, and how do we coexist in the society also is what should be taught, and this should be the purpose of education. Brotherhood, equality, tolerance levels, creating an empathy that is supporting them at times when they are weak and build their emotional skills. Teach them to coexist with every individual, because every individual has a different ideology and a different view, a different point of view all the time. And that is why when it comes to the citizenship, the objective of education becomes very, very important. If I want to live as a citizen of this country, I need to understand, I need to know that there are a lot of other people who have got different ideologies. I have to stay with them. I have to understand that they are a very important part of the system, or an important aspect. They are an important individual of this country, and I need to respect them. That should be the reason why I educate my children, with the sole purpose of making them understand what citizenship is all about. Socialization prepares people to participate in a social group. It teaches us the manners. With what manners do we live in the society? It should also be a purpose where students, the children, understand the history. We have a history which teaches us a lot. The culture which we have adapted in the years, students need to understand why is this culture being practiced. What is the importance of this in the history, and what is the importance of this culture in today in my life? We all are very well aware of Rabindranath Tagore, a personality, a Nobel Prize winner, his statement of universal brotherhood. Why did he talk about universal brotherhood, and what does actually universal brotherhood means? It means that every individual has got a sense of family. How do you protect your family when something goes wrong or somebody is ill? What exactly do? We run helter-skelter to protect this individual. Do we do the same thing when something is gone wrong in the society? So the objective should be that the students feel that this entire universe is something, it's related to me, and they're all my brothers and sisters. And also make the student understand that he has got a responsibility towards the society. He's got a responsibility towards the society, that he doesn't, or he creates an environment, or a healthy environment, I would rather say. He will make sure that there is equality, there is no gender discrimination, or there is no discrimination on the basis of economic conditions at times. The difference in educational aim may be attributed to two basic philosophical ideas of individualism and collectivism. And this exists. It's not that in the first part I was talking to you about individualism, and then I spoke about the society, the collectivism. We cannot take an objective and decide the entire curriculum. I can't say, okay, let us make the child responsible for the society, and using only that point I cannot design or make a curriculum. We need to make sure that we cover all those aspects of what, as a teacher, I need to cover all these aspects when I'm grooming a child, when I'm mentoring a student. Now let us see what Islamic education or what the religious aspect talks about. When we move on to different religion, it's the same, which most of the things are said. Now the philosophy of Islamic education is to provide human with sufficient knowledge. And why do we have to provide him sufficient knowledge? In order to make him aware that there is a creator, and his responsibility towards the creator. What is his duty? His duty is complete submission towards the creator. And he also understands that he has been sent on this earth as a Khalifa to put things in its place, to safeguard, to protect everything which he has created. Education should teach them to understand the qualities and skills with which human is born. We are all born with certain qualities, and how do we groom them should be the objective. We need to teach them on how to use these qualities. We need to make them mentally, physically, and also give them, build strong characteristics, build a strong sense of commitment to practice good habits. It's not that I practice one day, I'm honest one day, and the next day I'm not honest. So as a teacher, it's important for us that we make them physically strong, we make them spiritually strong, we build those characteristics in the students, and we also make sure that they practice those values or the habits consistently, and they should be thankful to the Creator for what all He has given to us. Self-understanding and the responsibility towards self, this should also be an objective, that I need to understand what is my responsibility towards myself, and I should also know what is my responsibility towards the society and what is my responsibility towards the Creator. Education should teach children that the universe created by the Creator is for human beings. He needs to know how to protect it and use whatever is available in the universe for the betterment of the society. A simple example, if I become a chemical engineer and I know what all chemicals or what all resources are available on the earth or below the earth, and tomorrow I use that for the betterment of the society, then my education has a purpose. If I make an atomic bomb and then start dropping it wherever I feel that this should not exist, then my entire purpose of educating, the teachers who educated me would have wasted their time, and I would have wasted my time in learning all this thing, because ultimately, if I'm using it for destruction, it will someday create a big damage for me also. Establish justice should be a purpose. The objective should be that when we are educating children, the child should be able to establish justice. And every individual is given equal rights and should not give rise to hatred. And the student should develop a sense of pityness and fear for the Creator. How many of us really have that fear of Creator today? Looking at what is happening around the world today, I don't feel that we have even an iota of fear towards the Creator. They should possess the qualities of brotherhood, as I just said, universal brotherhood by Rabindranath Tagore. Our students should be kind. They should be having something called patience. They should learn how to be patient and always think about doing good deeds. Freedom of speech is something which is very, very important to establish democratic system where every individual can live a life the way he wants unless he doesn't cross the line, and also make sure that he's living a life as a role model. And being a role model, he should make sure that he inspires others. Using a chemical engineer, if using some chemicals, using some resources available on the earth, if I could develop energy which could give the entire city the electricity, then my education and the purpose of education, the purpose of life becomes something which everybody would appreciate. If I don't do it, then I would become a role model. If you look at APJ, I would give an example. He really worked. He worked hard in his school days, in his college days, completed his engineering, then he worked as a scientist, and just go around and see his profile of what all he worked on and what all he gave for the society. And today he is a role model for us. On the other hand, there are a lot of other people who developed something which created a nuisance in the society, and they are no more a role model. So we need to make sure that we are a role model when we do something. People should learn from us. People should get inspired from us. These objectives should be brought into practice, and it is possible only when they are given importance. The main objective will always remain common. It doesn't get deviated. And what is that? The human being very obedient towards the Creator. And his struggle towards he being accepted by the Creator. We need to struggle for that. It's not that easily we get an admission into his classroom. We need to struggle to get admitted into his classroom tomorrow on the last day of judgment. The other objectives, as I mentioned, holistic development. No aspect should be left out. Development of intellectuality, mental, physical, emotional, social abilities should be addressed. And the new education policy also talks a lot about the holistic development, and we are also working towards the holistic development. And the purpose of this training is also to make the teachers understand the holistic development. Now, what does Islam, whereas the NEP is talking about this, the religious aspect had mentioned about holistic development since ages. Because unless and until an individual personality has got an all-round development, until he understands his purpose of creation, he understands what is available in the universe, he understands what could be done with those things available in the universe. If he is patient, if he is kind enough, if he has got a sense of accountability, if he understands his responsibility, and if he also has got a sense of feeling towards his brotherhood, his neighbors, the entire society, only then he becomes a complete personality. And that happens only when we build or when we give a strong support to the students, or groom their intellectuality, groom them mentally, groom them physically, groom them emotionally, make them emotionally strong, and also teach them the social skills of how you gel with the society. To understand better, we need to know that we all have the three different parts, and those three different parts are, for any individual, if you say, the body, the mind, and the heart. Through education, students need to understand the importance and policies of health. Today, how important the health has become, we all know. So one of the objectives should also be that we make the children aware how important health is for them, and avoid things which are unhealthy in life. There are a lot of things which are available when you step out into the street. You will find a lot of things which are not healthy for you. One of the best example I could give you is the junk food. Children should be made aware that what is healthy food, what is unhealthy food. They should be encouraged to get into a system where they could do exercise every day. Get connected with practices which will lead towards a healthy life, and also make sure that we make them understand that there is a healthy food, and that healthy food will help us to live a healthy life. Mental and spiritual development, Ruh, which we talk about, is nothing but the purification of the soul. How does this happen? And what is the food for this? The food for this is the Creator. The attachment towards the Creator. And no soul can attain purification unless and until they understand the concept of the Creator. So his relationship with God needs to be strong. Those who divide the religious aspect and the secular teaching and say that these two are two different things, actually I would say it is a wrong perspective. A perspective which doesn't exist. Because unless and until I get connected towards the Creator, I would not understand the purpose of life. And if I don't understand the purpose of life, then what do I do for the society? Or what do I do for myself? So those who know that the limited concept of, they feel that this is a limited concept, and who are not familiar of the concept of, both, that the religious and the secular aspects gel together and will always go together, and who distribute religious and secular education into two parts, because there's no duality of knowledge. I mean, there's no separate concept of religious and secularism. We all are children of Adam. We all belong to one race. We all are being created by one Creator, who decides on everything, and He is the one who has given us knowledge. This is what we need to understand. So when we understand this, how will we understand this? When we separate these two, when we mix, when we integrate this, only then we will understand that there is a force which has created us, and He is the one who is giving us knowledge, and using that knowledge we do something for the society. Human being has got intelligence, that's another aspect, and this is the main difference between human and animals. We can think, but before we also argue, we concentrate, we try to learn new things, we contemplate at times, and this actually leads to understand the creation or His purpose of creation. To make him understand, or to make an individual personality, to make the human being understand, educating him is important. We need to make sure that the student I mean to say and make the student understand the clear concept of creation or the concept of creator. We need to educate him. We need to train him. We need to make him read books. And also at times we need to take him around and probably make sure that we travel across the globe to understand how the world is all about and how it has been created. And like, when you start appreciating a painting, when you see a painting, you automatically start appreciating the painter. When you see the entire universe, you'll automatically start appreciating the painter. You get connected. And unless you see that, you will not understand. This should be the objective of education, and unless any individual get this, he cannot be obedient to the Creator. Unless he understands, he sees the universe, he cannot be obedient to the Creator. Should have a proper and balanced relationship with himself, with the society and the universe. Human beings should be aware of this because he is not alone. I am not alone in the society. I am a part of the society and I have rights over other fellow beings also. If I have learned something good, it is my responsibility to teach everybody those good things. He is responsible for the relationship with the human beings and the events which happen around me in the universe. Whatever happens, when the human beings are affected, I cannot just be ignorant. I cannot just neglect and sit at home. I have to make sure that I need to protect everybody and I need to understand the principles of the universe. Because if I sit at home thinking that it's not going to affect me, very soon it's going to affect me also. So I need to protect my fellow beings, I need to protect the universe if I have to be safe in the society. Education policy should educate an individual on how he treats himself, how he treats the society and the universe. We should also create a sense of accountability towards the Creator. He's given us so many things. What has happened today? I just go on cutting the trees. The plants are uprooted. The trees are uprooted. The plants are cut, removed. And today we are paying for the oxygen. We are paying for the oxygen. So, because we were not accountable, we were not responsible enough to protect these things. He needs to understand, the student needs to understand that we all have come from the Creator and we all have to go back to the Creator. From Him we come and to Him we return. The responsibilities towards other human beings and the duties towards the society. This responsibility, I should be accountable for that. I have been sent. If, for example, if I have been appointed as a teacher, I am accountable to what I teach in the school. I am accountable to the parents, I am accountable to the students, I am accountable to the management, and more important, I am accountable to myself. Today we talk about creating curiosity among students. The objective should also be that we create curiosity among students. We create make the students realize that reflection is important, realizing that the reflection attribute, what did I do the whole day, that attribute should come into picture at the end of the day. And we also make sure that the objective should be we build researchers. The student should get into a habit of research, finding new things. Unless he researches, he will not be able, unless he gets into a research mode, he will not understand what is available in the universe. And by using that, what could he do for the betterment of the society? So we need to build, we need research candidates. We need students who are very keen observers. And we also need creative students. National education policy talks about all these things today, but these all have been into the system since ages. It's good the education policy is talking about this, and I hope the teachers would work to build a researcher, creates a student who is a very keen observer and who is also a creative person. In the same way, no, to fulfill the social responsibility, we need to teach him manners. And I just can't open a toffee wrapper and then throw it out on the street. I need to have manners. Right? Many times I've seen a lot of people as they're walking, they use the roadsides as urinals, loos. No manners. Chocolate wrappers are thrown. We spit. We eat. A lot of people eat, pan, gutkas, and then just spit across wherever they are. Where are the manners gone? We need to make sure that we teach the manners, and we also need to make sure that we teach them what are good things and what are the right things. At times, students are highly educated. We have seen a lot of educated people, highly qualified doctors, engineers, chartered accountants, everybody. But they are not aware of what is the social responsibility they have. Today we only have selfish people. I don't have to give you examples. If you open up the newspapers in the last 1.5 years, it's become worst. At times students are highly educated, they have become highly selfish. I also have seen a lot of people who have contributed a lot towards the society in the last 1.5 2 years during the pandemic. How do we stay connected with the society? How do we complete our responsibility of being good? How do the children differentiate between the evil and the bad, or the good and the evil? We need to teach the students what is right and what is wrong, what is good, what is evil. One of the purposes is to encourage on discovering new things. We need scientists. We need to teach students, help students, guide students, mentor students to discover new things. And also understand, get deeper into universe, find more and more new scientific things, do research and get us the new science, new arts. This is what we call knowledge creation. How many of us remember when I definitely I'm not sure how many of us are there in this group who are of a particular age group what I am of. When we studied, we had a limited resource. We didn't know what technology is all about. Knowledge created it, right? Student who acquired knowledge came up with technology, built on the technology, and today I'm sitting somewhere down south and talking to you, and you're listening to me, and the students across, you might be in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So knowledge creation will happen only when students learn to do research. Till the date we keep working on creating need-based knowledge, we are existing. The day I create something which is not useful for the society, I would not be required in the society. I would be thrown out. If we stop working and if we stop gaining knowledge, what happens we all know. There's somebody who would go past us and he would achieve what I am supposed to achieve. We should create an environment, another aspect, for students to become discovery agents, provide them with facilities. We're talking about environment. We need to create discovery agents. Students discover things from the environment for the environment. We need to provide them with facilities. The objectives of education is what we are talking, and we need to create discovery agents. We need to provide them with facilities. We need to guide them as mentors. Only then you will get scientists and inventors and somebody who would protect the environment for our future students. As you know, we all I don't know how many of you have heard, but I have heard this many times. We are not giving the future to the students. We are actually borrowing. We are actually borrowing it from the future citizens. So we need to give it to them safely. If I have a town with about 10,000 trees, I need to go. When I'm going, I need to give my children a town with about 20-25,000 trees inside. Another important objective should be making students respect environment. How to balance the environment and work towards the development of that environment. What should be the policy? We need to really think on this. If we work for environment, we ignore development at times. And if we are working for development, we ignore the environment. That should not happen. We need to teach the students on how to balance these both and bring in change. We need development. I am not saying we should not develop. We need roads, we need bridges, we need flyovers, we need high-rise buildings, we need technology, we need everything. But just because I have to build a house for myself, I can't cut all the trees and build a house for myself. If I do that, I'll end up paying for oxygen. These are some of the objectives with what I think every teacher should think of, every school management should think of, and frame their policies on what is the aims and objectives of education in your school. Why should children come to your school? What are you giving them? Last but not the least, a very important aspect, one big and important objective is character building. The purification happens. If I talk about these things in spiritual language and from the Islamic education or from the Quran and Sunnah's point of view, students' character is built. We need to build those characters in the students, help them attain purification. They should be very clear and mentally fit, that is spiritually strong. Their thoughts and ideas should be clear and they should be able to lead a very pure life. Character building cannot be possible without teaching and inculcating values in the classroom. We all know what Japan does. For the first few years, only work on character building, behavior management. They don't teach A plus B, A, B, C, Ds and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the initial years. To know more on how they build the characters, how they integrate values, please do visit a lot of websites on Google and try to understand. So character building cannot be possible without teaching or without inculcating values among students, and in the holistic development and all-round development, integrating values is a very, very important aspect. These should be the objectives of all the schools across India, and Markazi Taleemi board is working towards achieving these objectives. This is possible. Markazi Taleemi board is working in the sense we are sitting, a lot of people sitting in the head office are working. People like me who have got associated with them are working. We are planning, we are framing training modules and bringing it to you. With this, we will not be able to achieve a holistic development, or we will not be able to achieve all those objectives which I have been talking to you in the last 30-40 minutes. It's not possible. It's possible only when you as a teacher understand all these aspects, believe strongly in these aims and objectives, and go into the classroom with these aims and objectives. Only then the mission is possible, is achievable. And I hope that after you listen to this video and do a lot of more reading on this aspect of aims and objectives, what should be the aims and objectives, what the different psychologists talk about, what the religious aspect talks about, read, understand, and then when you go back into the classroom, there would definitely be a change. And that is a change which you and I can bring. And that is the change we all are expecting. And that is what we could give to the future citizens. And this is what is our responsibility. And I hope we understand what the responsibility is all. Thank you.